Hey, it's Total Schmidt Show. It's Tuesday at 6 o'clock. This is a Total Schmidt Show. We're on time like clockwork. Today, Jimmy Pardo. Buckle up. Hey, welcome to the Total Schmidt Show. Whether you're watching on the Lenny Schmidt Comedy Network on YouTube or you're listening on podcast, we have a new intro, new theme song. Let's do this. Hey, tune in every week as I travel the world and I talk to entertainers from all over the world. A lot of writers, a lot of comics, a lot of dancers, a lot of singers, a lot of comics, a lot of producers, a lot of tech people, a lot of comics, a lot of pianists, piano player type people. You know what I'm talking about. Musicians and lots of comics. Every once in a while, we'll throw in a comedy sketch, something like that, some music, some travel stuff. We'll even do a live remote from one or two of the ports that happen to be hanging out at. That's it. That's the whole show. And I'm going to record it all and put it on the intraweb. Sometimes. Usually late. Always late. Maybe. I don't know. And weekly? Nah, maybe. Sort of. Either way, sit back, grab a beer, light a joint, and enjoy this week's episode of Yeah, look at that. Look at things are going well. Nothing froze. Everything's moving just fine. We're plugging along. How you doing? This is Lenny Schmidt. This is a Total Schmidt Show. Tuesday nights, 6 o'clock. I talk to entertainers all over the world, usually from a cruise ship, sometimes from a foreign country, sometimes from an airport. Today from my bedroom. I'm in Los Angeles, and we're doing a live show here. But we're back live streaming. I haven't live streamed in quite some time. I can't remember the last live stream. I think it was Steve Mazon. We did a live stream not too long ago. But we're here, man. We're here today. Live stream. If you're watching the show regularly, you know Mr. Lenny Schmidt on all social media platforms. You can follow us, subscribe to the show. Follow us anywhere, Mr. Lenny Schmidt on YouTube. You should know that already if you're here. Also, you'll see a ticker throughout the show with information for social media and Patreon information if you want to support the show in any way, shape, or form. And feel free to come on in. I got a whole 5 viewers here. I think what's throwing people is that I'm on time. That's usually I'm late, and or I start it and there's no sound, and people go, "Hey, there's no sound," and I got to go, "I'm sorry." And that's why I do it live, because I can read the stream, the comments. People go, close the door, or there's no sound, or there's no light. We can't see you, blah, blah, blah. People guide me through the mistakes I make. But today we're going to go right to it, man. I have a friend here, one of the guys I've known longer than anyone, I think, in comedy, anywhere. Many, many, many years. My brother, obviously, I've known longer, but Jimmy, just as long. Jimmy Pardo and I, we started out roughly same time, maybe. He was south side of Chicago. I met him over there in the Orland Park area, and we were both White Sox fans, so that's good or bad. I don't know, but I've known Jimmy a long time, and he is here today, folks. Welcome, please, the one and only Mr. Jimmy Pardo. Look, there he is. Look, he's here.
Hi, Len. How are you?
I'm good, Jim. How are you, buddy?
Good. I feel good that I'm giving you the Pardo anti-bump, apparently, with with only 5 viewers. I feel like I've let you down.
No, I'm telling you, it's because I'm on time. People tune in.
Okay.
No, we have
well,
6.
That better be right.
I put you on, and we already have 2 more.
All right. Well, again, I think if this thing doesn't at 6:15, if this thing's not more than that, then I'm calling it the Pardo anti-bump. It's all my fault.
All right, man.
Yeah, I'm going to call it.
All right. That's up to you. That's entirely up to you. I like the green screen. You get the green screen in back, and that's my green screen background behind me.
Wait, that can't be true. That can't be a fake background behind
lying.
you. No.
Totally lying. No, totally.
Is that your bedroom? You're a grown man.
I am a grown man. Yeah. What's throwing you about the bedroom? The flags and stuff hanging from the wall? My daughters say it's a frat boy bedroom.
I think they're being generous. I think it's an 8th grader's bedroom. Good Lord. That's a child's room.
Those are giant flags. They don't just give those away back there.
I think it's cute that you got the Bears hat just so you put the Bears hat right in line of the camera, so that when you swivel over, it's in the shot.
A little Chicago flag over here. Oh,
I see it.
Yeah,
you're letting them know you're over by there.
I'm representing. It's because I don't have anything to decorate, so I just grab all my Chicago shit and throw it behind me.
Where's your White Sox stuff?
There's let's see. Oh, I don't have a flag. What do I have? Oh, I don't have anything hanging up right now, White Sox wise. Yeah, I got all the hats. My hats are hanging up in the closet. I have a hat rack with all of my several different White Sox hats. But I have but I have White Sox hats and I have Bears hats, and frankly, I don't want to wear either right now.
I don't blame you. They're
Yeah,
both. I mean, it's a tough time. I don't follow any other sport besides baseball, but it's a tough time to be a Bear, any sort of Chicago fan, from what I understand. Unless people are excited about the Blackhawks, that young boy, right? That
Connor Bedard. That kid is. I love him. He scored his first goal the other night.
Good for him. He deserves it.
Like typical Chicago fans, though, they're 4 games into the season, and the headlines now are maybe the rebuild has been sped up by Connor Bedard. They have 3 good games, and they're like, hey, maybe things like when the Bears won last week, they go, I think the Bears are going to turn it around, and then they went right back to shit in the bed this week. So
it's it goes like when Trump did one good speech off a teleprompter, and it's like, you know what? I think he's very presidential now. He's turned it around. Like, no, he's not. He's an evil, horrible human being. Let's not give him credit for reading one thing correctly.
No, he comes up the next week throwing pens at people again. And people are like, okay, that's the guy we thought we voted for. That's him. That's him. All right, we have viewers, man. Robin Greenberg. Yep. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's the groups. Robin, I didn't vote for Trump either. Let's clarify that for you. You canceled on my own show. Robin Greenberg's here. Hi, Robin. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. And Derek Shostag is here. I believe that's one of your followers, my friend. He's toting your name.
It could be.
You brought him in.
All right, I believe it.
We're up to 8 people. Now we're moving. We're cranking. We're moving along.
All right, but you put this out as a podcast as well, so people can hear this. If people have busy lives, 6 o'clock, people are in traffic, so on and so forth. So there's a possibility that they'll listen to this after the fact.
Right. Also, no one's rushing home to be home by 6 p.m. Pacific to watch my YouTube show. You know what I mean? Plus, this video will stay on YouTube afterwards, so you can watch it later. We started doing I did the live thing because I did these during COVID, and it was a way a lot of people connected. You know what I mean? People watched the show, and I had people that would connect through YouTube and make comments and stuff. It was fun during COVID, and then when I went back on the road, I started recording the podcast as a podcast. I don't do many live anymore, so it's nice to do one live every once in a while.
Well, I'm honored to be part of the live one. I'm sorry I let you down by not being able to come to the Valley and do it with you in person there, but I'm glad I didn't, because it looks like I'll get an STD from that bedroom of yours. I think it's whatever. I think there might be spilled beer somewhere in there.
There is spilled beer, but I have sanitizer at the door, so you can sanitize your hands as you walk inside. You know what I mean?
Very nice.
It's very clean, and it's I bleach.
Do you have a lot of people over?
Never do I have people over. Almost never. I'm not home much, really. I got my daughters live here. They never have people.
Oh, they
over.
do.
Yeah, the girls are both here. They never have people over. It's like it's just the 3 of us here.
Great, perfect. That's all you need.
They have boyfriends. They're over sometimes now.
But they're old enough to have that where it's not weird, right? They're not.
No, they're good.
Teens.
They are. They're great, and they're both dating like nice young men now. You know what I mean?
You like them.
They've worked their way out. My youngest worked her way out of the skater boy phase, and there was a whole fan wave of guys with skateboards and bongs walking through the house. I'm like, hey, how you doing? And now these are good guys. I like these guys. They have jobs, full-time jobs.
Okay, great. So they're that's gonna be weird for your family, right? That
it is for
full-time employment
job.
coming in.
Yeah, money coming in. It's good. At least there's someone else I can borrow money from. That's a nice feeling,
right? I mean, look, I speak because we're at that age. We were young comedians making zero money, so that's what I mean. Like that'll be weird for somebody that age in the Schmidt family to be bringing in a couple of bucks.
Yeah, in their early 20s, right? It's very confusing for me. But the girls they're adapting. They're adapting. How about you, man? How you doing, buddy? How you doing?
I'm getting by like anybody else, just trying to make our way through this crazy world of ours.
Yeah,
fine, Len. I'm not on the cruise ships like you. I stay landlocked. You know that. I stay with my feet on the ground, and
I like that.
I reach for the stars, like my hero Casey Kasem once said. And full disclosure, not one of my heroes. I got no problem with him though. I got no truck with the Kasem.
No truck with the Kasem. He was a good man.
Mm.
This is a Ryan.
Was he a good man? I don't know. Right? Isn't he one of those that maybe some people have some stories where he wasn't a great dude?
Well, they could be because this is, he was out back before there was social media and pictures and tweeting everywhere. You know what I mean? So that's back when you could have a closet. That's when people had closets, or things in the closet.
Boy, do I like that phrase. That's back when people had closets. What a great way to put it. Because had. Yeah, great way. I love it. Back when people had closets. You got to that's your merch. Make your merch.
I'll put that on the T-shirt.
Yeah.
On a T-shirt somewhere.
That's my recommendation.
I like it. So when's your next? When are you going out of town and going on the road again? We were talking about this when I did your podcast last month.
I don't have anything planned, Len. I just finished. I did Zanny's in Rosemont, and I did a Thursday night there, and then I did my favorite club in the world, the Comedy Attic in Bloomington, Indiana, and then I have nothing else planned in the meantime. I just look, without boring everybody that's already heard this nonsense, I've been dealing with health stuff the last 18 months that have been kind of slowed my traveling down, and so I'm going to stay wheels on the ground here. We're not going to go wheels up for a while, but when hopefully I'll get back out there in 2024. That's my game plan. And, who knows? Maybe someone will come up between now and the end of the year. If somebody, reaches out to Jimmy Pardo and makes me an offer that I can't refuse, mafia style, I'm happy to come out and do some comedy. But I loved it. It was good being back at Zanny's. It was good to be back in, our hometown of Chicago, at least the Chicagoland area of Rosemont.
Yeah.
And then go to the Comedy Attic, and if that's if those were the last gigs I do for the year, that I finished strong, and I was happy to do them.
Good, right on. Did you? I got to ask, weren't you for a while? Were you bringing Oliver with you on the road?
No, you mean as my opening act?
Yeah, someone told me that was happening.
No, that's the most insane. No, I was not bringing my son with me.
Okay.
When I going back to what you're talking about the pandemic era, when I was doing my monthly live show here from the house, I would do a live stream, and I would have Oliver. It's a strong word, open for me. He would basically he would start the show. He would welcome everybody. He would make a joke at my expense, and then he would introduce me. He basically would found something to make fun of me about, which is very, very easy to do, and then he would scram, and he would get a bigger laugh than I would get then for the next hour and a half. So it worked out well. But I'm not.
That's the way to do it with the kids. Like I used to teach kids in my daughter's school. I did like a comedy improv class over there, and when I went in, I did some ships and brought Lily with me on a couple of these ships. And it's like the Disney approach where you bring the kid out and you let them get the upper hand on you, and they get the big laugh, and that's how you win with the kids. And it's always a winner. So Lily would walk up after my show on the ship. And then I would literally go, "Hey, look, my daughter's here," and she would walk up and make fun of me for 5 minutes, and then and kill. They loved it. They thought it was adorable. And then we did improv together for a few minutes, and she was out the door. But I did the same thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then when I taught the kids, it was the same concept when you teach kids. And I taught it was like a whole bunch of kids, like 10 kids in this class, and it's very simple. Once you give the kids the upper hand, they feel comfortable, and the parents like the show, and then everybody wins. And then kids will do anything on stage. Then it's easy to direct kids in a comedic scenario, as long as they don't feel like they're being pressured to be funny. It was a blast. It was very cool. But you give them the upper hand.
You make a couple of bucks from that, Lenny? You're not teaching those kids for free, right? You're
not
giving back to the community.
It was, at first it was a fundraising for the school, and then I continued to do it on my own dime and charged for it. But I could not find a way to make enough money from it to keep doing it. Otherwise, I would still be doing it. It was easily the most rewarding thing I did. As a performer, was working with kids.
Why not do it then? Why not just do it for the reward of that then? Of the feeling, that warm feeling in your.
If I could survive on that warm feeling, then I would do that. But I can't put my kids through college on the warm feeling. So, Lily started beauty school this week. I got bills to pay, Jim. You know how it is. It's tight over here at the Schmidt house.
Okay. Yeah, I do know how it is. I mean, it's things are tight over here in the Pardo Koenig household as well. There's we're just coming out of a writer's strike. My wife hasn't worked in a while, and we're on an actor's strike, and that's not affecting my life at all. I hired to act in Hollywood since I was on True Jackson VP back in 2010.
Oh wow! Okay,
I think that was the last time I worked. Yeah,
True Jackson VP. Was that who was that?
Keke Palmer was the star of that.
Okay, right on.
And I saw Keke Palmer. She was just a teenager at the time. There was a gentleman who was a stand-in on the episode I was in. He was a stand-in for Greg Proops, because Greg Proops was playing two different roles that day. And the stand-in he was doing the lines just so that we had somebody to react off of, and the stand-in was not getting the lines correct, and he kept screwing up. And the more he screwed up, the more he screwed up. Like he just kept getting. The more he screwed up, the more flustered he became, and. Some of the other kids on the set, because it's it was a Disney or Nickelodeon show, I forget who it was for. Some of the other younger kids started then laughing at this man screwing up, and Keke Palmer, it was the most professional thing I've ever seen somebody do. She shut the kids up and told them they were being out of line. And then she went over and she put her arm around this, basically this stand-in, this extra, and told him, don't worry about it. We've got, that's why we do more than one take. You're going to be okay. And, just, don't panic, don't stress about it, and we'll get it done. And sure enough, the next one, he got it right. And I thought that was really, really what an adult thing to do for a teenager. I mean, it was her show, and she took charge, and it was really, really, I thought it was a class move.
That is a class move. That's also for her to have the wherewithal to be able to do that. And
right?
Yeah, because that guy's all freaked out and nervous in front of kids. That's going to be rough. It's
yeah,
amazing. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to repeat. I was just going to say the same thing. And it didn't matter. He could have just went. He truly could have just went blah 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 blah. Because he's not on camera. He was just for us to react to the back of his head.
Right.
But we've all been there. You want to do it right, even though you're not going to be on whatever's going to happen. And but she handled it with class. I thought it was terrific the way she did that, and she will forever then have a fan in Jimmy Pardo.
Nice. Right, dude, I always wondered about this. That's good to hear, man. I watched these. I worked with Drake Bell on a commercial once. He was from Josh and Drake, and Drake and Josh, whatever it was. But I was the first. I remember working with him because he came in, and he's one of those guys that's older but plays younger. What happens a lot in those kid shows. You know what I mean? They come in their 20s and stuff. Because he had to come in and shave. He had a beard and everything. He had to come in and shave. When I saw him, I freaked. I was like, oh, my God, you have a beard. And he shaved his, and then he shaved him down. He looked like
a child,
16-year-old kid. Yeah, the same 16-year-old kid he was. But I don't know. I'm always these kids that work in the industry that grow up working in this industry. I don't know how that's going to be a tough way to grow up, bro. I don't know if I could do that. I couldn't handle what I did coming out of stand up in my 20s. Can you imagine being a 13 or 14-year-old growing up in the industry?
13 or 14-year-old, and you're on set being treated like a star. You're being treated literally with kid gloves, like you're important, and it's insane. It's insane the pedestal we put all actors on around the set. That they're treated differently than the guy that's holding the camera or who's holding the boom mic. Everybody there is just as important, I feel, and again, maybe that's why I don't work as much, because I voice my opinion and I'm not welcome. On the flip side of that, by the way, Len, I was once at an audition for the Sweet Life with Zach and Cody, I think is who it is.
Yeah.
And I'm in the waiting room waiting to go in and read, and both Zach and Cody show up. And they both come into the waiting room and they just start doing British accents for no reason whatsoever. And all the other desperate actors start laughing and like they're part of the bit. And I literally just in my head going, shut up, you needy idiots, get out, go to your trailers. What are you doing here? It was pathetic is the only way I could describe it.
It was surrounded by a big group of yes men, just like that whole pointing at him, excited, laughing twice as hard at the yeah, that's the morning crew around the DJ. You know what I mean? That's the guys around. There's the one 100. DJ and the traffic guy. You're killing me with the thing and the hookers.
Yeah. It was that, but with teens, and it was. I believe my audition didn't go well then because I was just full of rage at the two stars of the show. So I'm pretty sure that carried through whatever role I was supposed to be doing. Probably my guess is angry short detective. That was a lot of what I would audition for.
Was it? Well, then you should have nailed it. Angry. You had angry. You were motivated,
right?
You had the angry in you.
I know, but something else slowed me down.
You probably didn't get it because you didn't laugh at their British accent.
They probably went in there and said, "Hey, that guy didn't laugh when I said, 'Hey, governor,' and I didn't."
Oh, that was the one. That's the one go-to for the English accent, by the way.
And that's the other thing. It's the go-to. So in addition to them being annoying with the accent, they went with the hackiest thing possible. And so get out, scram, Zach and or Cody, whichever one you are.
Zach and or Cody. Was that? Why were they at the audition? Were you callback producers or something, or?
I I could only think because they're needy.
Yeah, right. They needed the attention.
And it maybe, maybe they had offices in the production building as well. I don't know.
Right.
I just know that they walked past us, and in doing that, they did this crazy thing, and then they just kept moving. I don't know. Yeah, and I didn't do any deep research as to why they were there.
You need to do a little background check?
I didn't. Like every audition, I just couldn't wait to get back in my car, which I think is always the best way to approach auditions.
Sure, yeah. That way you can just drive home all the way home and talk to yourself. Dude, I did an audition. I don't know why I thought about this in the audition room. I don't know if I ever told you. I did a movie called The Neighbor years ago, and it was based on a French film, and it's just a really small part. But Gina Montaigne was in it. It was Joe Montaigne's daughter. It was her first big thing. So, but I go in, and Steven Weber is in the audition room. It's one of those audition rooms where there's like a bunch of things, other rooms going on, other auditions. And I see Steven Weber, who's Steven Weber at the time. He's obviously, he's a name. He's reading a script. I'm there. I'm just there reading for the spot. I see him, and I look at him. I go, man. I go, are you reading for movie number 2? And he just looked at me like I was crazy and didn't get the joke. I was so mad. I'm like, oh, come on. I thought he'd be like, aha. Because he's obviously reading for the lead of a film or something.
Sure.
And I'm just trying to be this funny guy. And he just looked at me like I was nuts and turned away with the script like I annoyed him.
I'm surprised by that because Steven did my podcast several years ago, and we've run into each other since. And he has an amazing sense of humor. He's a great guy.
Maybe I caught him at the wrong time.
Yeah, but I think he probably was in his own brain going, why am I auditioning? I'm offer only. I'm Steven Weber.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right? I mean, why is Steven Weber reading for anything? We all know how great Steven Weber is.
That's what I was thinking. I loved him in everything. Wings. I was a big fan of Wings. Did you ever watch that show?
When I lived, when Jennifer One and I had an apartment together in Orland Park, Illinois, we would watch Wings during dinner because remember Wings was on 75 times a day back on USA Network?
Syndicated thing, yeah.
So we would watch, I believe I've seen every episode of Wings, and I thought every episode of Wings was wonderful. I enjoyed Wings back in the day.
Right. I was a huge fan. Who do we have here? Okay, Shauna's here. Hi, Shauna's here. And Ben Magley is here.
Hey,
Ben's one. Those are both two of my followers. Oh, and Ryan Fields is here. Ryan's here. All right.
Wait, Ryan from our fantasy baseball league?
Yes.
Oh, hi, Ryan.
Yeah. Jimmy asked if you were at Fenway Park with the green monster behind you. Or Ryan asked.
That's Ryan. It's a fun baseball question.
A little baseball reference.
I am not. As I told Len, I don't like people seeing my office, so I put the green screen up so people didn't see my autographed albums behind my head.
I did. I saw it. It was snazzy. I like. It's very. It's a step above my flag move here at the house.
Now that all this is said out loud, I made fun of what you have hanging up. I have framed autographed albums on my wall. So does that make me any more of an adult? I don't think so.
I don't think so. It's everybody's got their own style.
I think it's just as pathetic.
It's just in a different pathetic.
I do have some White Sox stuff up. I've got a Frank Thomas action figure up, and I've got a bunch of autographed baseballs up.
Oh, you know what I do have over there is the Sports Illustrated from when they won the World Series. When they were in the corner of the, you know what I mean? They didn't get the full front page. Was it Manning, right? Was it on the front?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. I was so mad about that.
Well, that's the White Sox. The White Sox would never get the cover. They'd just get a little up in the corner sort of nonsense.
Right.
I've also got I've got a framed Chicago Sun-Times when I threw out the first pitch at a White Sox game the first time.
Right.
I have that framed up there.
Dude, have you? First of all, that is awesome. I would love to have the opportunity to throw the first pitch out.
It was I've done it twice now. The first time I was there, I was representing the Conan program, which was really cool. And the second time, I just was welcomed back as a friend of the team, Jimmy Pardo, and
that's cool.
My friend Jason Benetti, the broadcaster, play-by-play guy for the White Sox, made that happen, and I was very grateful. It's a thrill, and I will admit I enjoyed the second time more because I wasn't as panicked about the throw, and I just kind of was like, sometimes you do that sort of thing. Is like you kind of get in your head like, well, who's this guy? Right. And so the first time I ran out there and I threw the ball right away. Whereas the second time I kind of soaked it in a little bit.
You took it in yeah.
I did. And so I'm glad I had that opportunity to do it a second time so that I could kind of be in the moment more, as opposed to like the first time where it's like I just had to watch it back on video and see, do I look like I'm having fun at all on my face?
Right. You're not panicking. Inside you're like, I can't believe I'm on the mound. Which
it was
Did you throw from the mound?
The first time I threw from the mound, because it was pre-pandemic, and right before I was going to throw it, I was introduced to Ed Farmer, former
the late
play-by-play radio guy of the White Sox, who apparently had was legendary for holding people hostage and talking to them way too long. And so they and I did not know that at the time that he had a reputation for that. And so they introduced me. They said, Ed, this is Jimmy Pardo. He's a stand-up comedian. He's got a podcast, Never Not Funny, and he's here representing the Conan show that they're doing shows over there at the Chicago Theater. He's throwing out the first pitch. And he turned to me and he said, it's not the first pitch. Think of it as the first toss. So many people try to throw a strike. They try to act like they're a pitcher. Just pretend you're playing catch with your dad, and you'll just by default, you'll throw a strike. And or at least you won't screw up.
Right. Okay.
And then he talked, I think, until the day he died. He was still there talking to me. He went on and on and on, and they kept going, okay, Ed, we got to bring him out to the mound. Okay, Ed, we got to bring him out. And he just kept yattering on and on and on about the first pitches and so on and so forth. And so then when I got on the mound and I was throwing to John Danks was the former White Sox player who was catching the first pitch that day, and he got down to the catcher position, and I took Ed Farmer's advice, and I just played catch with John Danks. And if you were a left-handed batter, it was a strike, but maybe a little inside. You know what I mean? Like it was in the zone. It was between the shoulders and the knees, but maybe a little inside.
Okay.
And then the second time was during, I think, 2021, where they were just letting people back in the stadium. And I was on the mound, but Southpaw was who caught it that day, the White Sox mascot.
Yeah, right.
And because the players were not allowed to catch it because they were trying to still keep the players in like a bubble of some sort.
Oh, right, right. Okay.
So, but apparently Southpaw can get COVID, but the players can't.
Yeah.
So Southpaw set up in front of the plate, and that kind of bummed me out because I kind of was like, I want to throw a strike this time. And I did, but it was, it was only 58 feet instead of 60 feet.
Right, right.
And it was, but who cares? You're on the jumbo screen and you're throwing it out. Please welcome the host of the Never Not Funny podcast. And it just was, growing up on the south side of Chicago, it was dreams come true.
Yeah. Well, dude, just walking on the field would be enough for me. Like I've done that fireworks thing where they let you go down on the field and sit.
Right.
Man, I get 50 years old, you get a little chill walking out on a baseball field. I'm like, this is cool. This is
because
really...
as kids, 22-year-old baseball players looked like giants to us, and they looked like grown men to us, and they were superheroes. And that field looked like it was just sacred ground. So when you're able to walk out on that field, doesn't matter how old you are. To me, it's like you're doing something that as a kid you can't believe this is even happening. No matter why you're out there.
Yeah, yeah.
So I am very, very grateful that I had the opportunity to do to throw it out both times. And if I'm asked again, I'll be more than happy to do it. And I keep wanting you and I both have the 1976 jersey. You have, I believe, a Fisk one, 1980.
Yeah. I got a home and away.
I have it. Say it again, please.
A home and away for Zisk.
Of that era, with the ones with the softball with the collar.
Yeah.
And I have that era of my favorite baseball player of all time, Alan Bannister.
Oh, nice. All right.
I have his jersey. It was a game-worn jersey. So I own Alan Bannister's jersey. And I always bring it with me. Well, always. I've done it twice. I brought that jersey twice with me to wear on the mound. And each time before I do it, they give you a jersey with your name on it, and they kind of want you to wear that. So I think my third time I will have the spine to say, let me wear my Alan Bannister jersey. Please let me wear the jersey that I saw on the field. You know what I mean? So
yeah, right.
We'll see if that happens. If I ever get the opportunity again. I don't think I will, but
you probably will. Do you talk to Pat McGann over there at all much?
I do talk to Pat every now and then.
Does he still do that podcast for them?
I don't think he is. I think he's moved on to doing shows at the Chicago Theater on his own, and doesn't have time for that. Pat McGann is a jinx. Every time Pat McGann's in the radio booth, the opposing squad gets minimum 7 runs that inning.
Oh, really? I was not. aware
Pat
of that.
McGann's. I don't know why they keep letting him up there. He truly is. He's bad news.
Right. Yeah, they going to put a kibosh on that.
Very funny though. Pat McGann's very funny.
Oh, he's very funny. He's hilarious. He's got that that same Chicago style of humor. You know what I mean? There's a style. There's like a Chicago style that we all kind of carry a little bit, and he's got that for sure.
He has it 1,000%.
Yeah, it's a great way. Chicago comics have the ability. Everybody has this ability to kind of give someone a hard time, but still be your buddy. You know what I mean? It's like this weird line that we all walk that it works for us. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Yes, I
of course you
been
do.
living it, doing. You know, it's been my career for it's something 30 plus years now. However long we've been doing this nonsense.
Yeah, 30 plus. Dude, I remember my first baseball game. I remember to this day I remember the feeling of walking out and seeing the field. Like we were upstairs and I walked out and to this day I still get that feeling when I walk in the upper deck and I walk out into the field, like the big part of the field. And we were as a Cubs. It was a Cubs game. We're little kids. My dad took me and Mike and my mom to see the Cubs game, and Ernie Banks hit like his 500th home run or something that day.
Holy smokes!
It was a really big deal. We were there. I remember we were there at the game. I'd never been to a game. I was excited, and Banks hits the home run. The place goes nuts. Everyone goes insane, and Mike throws up all over everyone in front of us.
Oh boy!
Like just pukes. So
from excitement.
Yeah, well, he was eating ice cream, and then the yelling freaked him out, so he threw up. So my mom took Mike out to the car, and they got him cleaned up, and my dad and I sat in the park and watched the rest of the game. I don't know how long it was into the game, but that's the story. That's how that planned out. He was a little kid. He was real. I mean, geez, we had to be 6 and 3 maybe at the time.
Wow,
we were real small.
Yeah. If you're seeing Ernie Banks play, you're going to be really small.
Yeah, I mean, it was but I remember seeing the ivy and everything. I remember the first time it was like a July because the ivy was rich. You know, it had a really good look on it, and it just looked like it just looked so much like TV but bigger. It just blew me away. It was really impressive. But I still get
there's
that
something about it.
You know, when I walk into any stadium now, like that that part when it opens up, it just fills you up. It's very cool.
I 100% agree with you. I did. There was one time it was maybe my third game, and we went. Our CCD teacher brought us to a game of all things. Our Sunday school teacher, and so it was a bunch of guys from the neighborhood. I grew up in hometown, and there was a kid named Mike Duty. We were in 6th grade, and we went to the White Sox. And Mike had never been to Mike had only played Little League, where there's it's dirt, and then in the outfield there's those, because of where the kids stand, the grass is gone and it's just dirt where the kids stand.
Yeah.
And so Mike Duty sees the beautiful Comiskey Park, just beautiful green outfield, and he with all sincerity he went, "Where are the dirt spots so the guys know where to stand?" And
that's the best.
Isn't that the best? Of course, at the time we all made fun of him, but now looking back, you just go, what a sweet, innocent thing to say.
Yeah, that's such a pure little kid thing to say. You know what I mean? How do you know where to go? It's hilarious.
Yeah. I believe he moved to Ireland, and I don't know what happened to Mike Duty after that game. They got him out of the city for that comment, but he moved out of the country, as a matter of fact.
Right on.
Lenny, do you know the story of me owning how I've come to own an Alan Bannister jersey? Do you know this story?
I don't know this story, but by all means, please tell me.
All right. So as mentioned, Alan Bannister was my favorite player growing up. And Alan Bannister, for those that don't know, was a utility man at best. He was a fine defensive player, and he had an okay bat, nothing great. And but I loved him. For some reason, I thought he was the greatest. Maybe because he played the first game that I went to. I don't really know, but I just was all in on Alan Bannister. So years later, in fact, 2006. June of 2006, I'm on the internet and I see that somebody is auctioning off a game-used Alan Bannister jersey. And I'm like, I need to have that Alan Bannister jersey. I don't care what it costs me. I'm going to win that Alan Bannister jersey. So I keep going. Every day I go online, and every day I'm getting outbid. I'm like, who the hell else is outbid? Why am I getting outbid on this Alan Bannister? Who the hell else wants an Alan Bannister jersey in 2006? And so I keep upping my bid. Like it started like at $50, and I'm like, I'm going to get an Alan Bannister jersey for $50. Now it's over 100. Now it's 150. Now it's over 200. I'm like, what the F is going on? I want this thing, but I don't want to spend a mortgage payment to get this thing. And so all of a sudden, one day I run into your brother Mike, and Mike goes, "Dude, you got to stop bidding on the Alan Bannister jersey. It's me."
Is he trying to buy it for you? Is he trying to get it for you?
It turns out behind my back, Danielle, my beautiful wife Danielle, and Mike said, "Hey, Jimmy wants this jersey. His birthday's coming up. Let's go in together and get him this jersey for and surprise him."
Right.
And they thought that once it got over a certain amount, I would stop bidding,
right,
and that they would and then nobody else was bidding, and they would just get it. But we just kept raising the price up on each other, is what happened. So I now have an Alan Bannister jersy, courtesy of your brother and my wife.
That's a sweet story. That's beautiful.
It's a great story. I'm
great.
thrilled to have the jersey, and again, one day I'll have the courage to wear it in public.
Do you have it? Is it hanging in your closet, or do you have it framed up or something like that?
It's in a closet. Yeah. It also came with pants, Len. It came with pants.
You got a full uniform?
It came with a full uniform. Yeah, full Alan Bannister uniform. It's that polyester, so it's not comfortable to wear. It's so to wear that to a baseball game, it's got to be kind of a warm. It's got to be kind of a chilly night in order to wear that. Otherwise, it's too thick.
Yeah. How's it fit? How's it look on you?
Oh, it looks fantastic, like all clothing does. It looks.
I stand corrected.
What's weird?
I apologize.
It doesn't. I think it's a 40. You know what I mean? And I wear like a 38, but it's a 40 from the 70s, which I think was a 34. So it's really tight. Like it doesn't fit great, to be honest. It's a little snug.
Yeah.
But maybe that's on me.
Let me ask you this now. Never Not Funny, the podcast which I just did last month, which is your worldwide famous podcast, has been around.
That's exactly right.
How long now?
2006. We started in 2006. So 17 years.
Jeez, that's all right. That's a well-oiled machine you have over there, by the way.
A, thank you. B, yeah, I was thinking about it the other day. Like, I've been doing stand-up since 80. My first open mic was in 88.
Yeah.
And then I quit my day job and started doing comedy full-time in 89, which is 34 years. Yeah. I've literally been doing the podcast for half of that now, which is, that's a long time. It's weird.
Of course.
But I'm very, very grateful to the Never Not Funny fans that are very, very loyal to us. And I'm honored and flattered that I get to do that show a couple times a week for those folks.
Yeah, it's you got in early. You were way ahead of everyone as far as the podcast thing goes. And I was so impressed, dude. I love it. I love I get a call sheet for your podcast when I was coming over there. You guys sent me a call sheet. That's the greatest thing ever. And it's so organized. It's like, and dude, I got to be honest with you. I do a lot of show. That's a fun podcast to do. You guys are easy to work with. Talking to you and Matt. I mean, it's an easy back and forth with everybody. It was a blast, man.
Well, we've, again, to your point, we've been doing it a long time. And as I always say, on paper, the four of us, it's Matt Belknap has been my producer and co-host from day one. And Elliot Hochberg, our video guy, basically our third banana on the show. He's been with us since 2010. And Garen, our intern, I throw that in quotes because he's basically a cast member at this point.
Right.
But he's been with us for 11 years now. And as I always say, on paper, we would not be friends in any way, shape, or form. Like we would just like the four of us really just our love of comedy is all we have in common.
Right.
But our outside interests, none of us have that. I mean, I wouldn't be friends with any of those guys. I wouldn't walk across the street to say hello to those guys. But we're very lucky that these four weird personalities all come together and, we're able to, have these conversations each week and welcome folks like you in. And, we're very, very lucky that we've had, great people like Conan O'Brien come by and John Hamm that comes by on a regular basis. And they join us. And, I think people leave happy, and that's why they also come back. They come back and want to do the show again. So it's, again, I'm very grateful that I was in early so that I'm not just a drop in the bucket in this weird podcast world that we're currently in.
Yeah, no, well, it's a good show, man. You obviously should be proud of it. It's really good work.
Thanks, Len.
How often? What do you do live ones every once in a while, right? How often do you do a live one? And you do is that separate from the charity that you do every year, the Smiles charity? What's the one?
We've not done it since 2020 because of the pandemic. We did one online during the pandemic where we do a marathon 12-hour show to raise money for Smile Train. That's the organization that goes to third world countries to fix the cleft palates of mostly kids, but also adults that can't otherwise afford the surgery. And so the doctors donate their time. So if you donate $275, basically you're paying for surgery. Right. And so we started doing that in 2009. and we've raised over $1.5 million for that organization.
Wow.
And I'm very grateful that that the people donate. The fans, the fans get all the credit. They donate the money. Right. We just donate the time in the show, and I throw a couple of bucks that way as well. But then also we get my famous friends that are kind enough to come by and be a guest for 20 minutes during that 12 hours that we're on. So we haven't done one since 2020 because of the pandemic, but then my health issues played into it as well. But we're looking to get back and do one in 2024 so that we could raise some more money for Smile Train. But we'll do a live show either on the road. Matt and I will go to a club or a theater somewhere in the country and do a live show. Or we'll do one at Flappers here in Burbank, and we'll do a live show. And they're fun. They're very different than than the regular podcast. It's a different animal, right? But it's really, for me, it's not unlike doing stand up where it's the stand up happens, but it's really the stand up's an excuse to be in that town so I can meet fans after the show. Right. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where it's gone to now. Because I could, if I could, I would, but I don't want to. I would just charge money to say hello to me after a show. If I could just jump right to that, I would. Right.
Just do like a dinner thing. Sit down, everybody grab a sandwich and talk.
But I also like being funny. So, everybody wins.
Well, we talked, you have the advantage of, having a client like your fan base. You got a fan base that comes out and sees every show that comes out to a theater, which is something we talked about a little bit last time when I was on your show. Because it's so different to do stand-up these days. Like, how did the shows in Bloomington go? Was that mainly your fan base that you came out and the shows were good?
Bloomington was, I would say, 90% my fan base. Right. Whereas the show at Zanny's on Thursday in Rosemont, that was 100%, my fan base. Because, it was a Thursday night. We had a sold-out room there on a Thursday, and or at least close to sold out. And which, on a Thursday was... thrilling to get a full room on a Thursday. The club was happy, and
for you and them, both.
Yeah, and it's my fan base, and then some folks that that I went to grade school with, or high school with, or family that that come out, and I get to see those folks. So it was great, and that's basically I would say other cities, Len, maybe Ann Arbor's 80% my fan base, 20%. People that are just going to a comedy club. Go Bananas in Cincinnati, probably the same, 80% my fans, 20% strangers. But I kind of like having the strangers because, they haven't seen my nonsense before. They haven't seen the magic trick. Yeah. So to have that 20% be, oh, my God, he's remembering everybody, the things that he, just are, I always describe comedy as having a golf bag, and we just bring out different clubs for whatever's going on in the moment. Right. And, a lot of my fans have been to, hundreds of shows, and they've seen me use every club in the bag. So a stranger doesn't know why. Why is he using a sandwich? He should be putting. Oh, I see why he's doing that. You know what I mean?
I get it. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Does anybody like that golf club analogy? I think I'm gonna flesh that analogy out.
I like that a lot. I like that. You look at the crowd. You're like, I think this is a nine iron. This is definitely
9-iron crowd.
7. That's a 7. I can hit that with a 7. All right, man. Go ahead. Yeah,
I could do a 140-yard drive shot right here. Sure.
I don't know anything about golf. I'm just throwing out clubs now. I don't even know what they do. I know the putter putts, and I'm not a good golfer. Besides that, do you golf much?
I wish I could golf every day of my life, but I don't. I don't golf nearly enough. I wish I had. Sitcom actor money where during that strike I could have gone golfing every day and improved my game, but I do not. And but I wish I could. Boy, do I love it. I love it. I'm not good. I'm not good at all, but I love it.
Like fantasy baseball. It's the same thing. Something
you and I said it best at one of the drafts. There's nothing I love more that I'm horrible at than fantasy baseball. And I'm horrible at it.
I know.
But I love it.
I know it's so much fun, and no, I'm with you. I'm glad I'm back in the league next year. We do a league together. We have for 30. God, how long has that league been going on? 30, 20.
I started it in 1992. I was on a car ride doing a gig with Chicago comedian Bill Gorgo.
Right. And
Bill was telling me about this fantasy baseball league because we were in a car doing a road trip to a gig, and he was, by hour 3, you're out of things to talk about, and so he. Right. He started telling me about this fantasy baseball league, and I I was like, Jesus, that sounds, what do I need for that? And he goes, you don't need anything. You just get together with friends. You look at look at the newspaper, look at box scores. You call in your moves once a week. And I was like, well, let's do it. And he was already in a National League fantasy baseball league. And I said, well, why don't we start an American League? And so we started it in 1992, and we drafted at KJ Riddle's Comedy Stop in Orland Park, Illinois, our first year.
Right.
And it was, so here we are now, 31 years later, the league is still going on. And I believe you joined 25 years ago, 26 years ago?
Yeah, I've been in and out I did one draft there at the Riddles there, I think. One in Johnny's office
did.
Or something. Back when we were still bringing magazines and newspapers. You know,
yes.
And now it's laptops and Microsoft Excel sheets.
Yeah. You know, the funny part is a great Chicago comedian and local radio personality, Bill Leff, said it best. We all have the same draft materials. Nobody had, your brother thinks he's got information nobody else does.
I know.
But the rest of us, we buy the same 3 magazines. We go to the same 4 websites. We all have the same information. Nobody's getting information from an outside source.
Right. Well, there almost isn't. There's no inside information anymore. Whatever is to be known is out there. You know what I mean? There's nothing's hidden. If somebody's hurt, you know. I remember the old days of having to catch the West Coast box scores the next day in the newspaper.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's not. It's such real time now. You know what's happening the second. I get notifications on my phone when somebody.
Right.
You know, the second there's a wild pitch or something. You know, I know the second what's going on in the playoffs, home runs, everything. So yeah we're so wired in.
It's too much. I think we're too wired in. Not just in fantasy baseball, but in the world, we're too wired in. We know we know too much. We don't, you know, like you say, everything's in real time. We don't. There's no time to digest anything. Everything's coming at us.
Yeah, and we get pounded so fast. We need a big like a big satellite crash is what we need. We need nothing, no technology, just for a couple of weeks, just like to go back.
Could you imagine?
Some people would not be able to survive.
Oh my God. It'd be like when you see those movies and the zombies just all run into the water because they don't know what to do. It would just be that. People would just start
with their phones in the air, freaking out and just hyperventilating. Yeah, I'm amazed sometimes, man. When I used to work at the barbecue joint, there was a guy that was delivering food for me once, and he told me, he looks at me and goes, I go, you have to take this to 2301 Main Street. He goes, my phone's down, so I don't have my GPS. I can't get there. I go to fucking Main Street and go to 23rd Street. There's a corner right. What do you mean? And I swear I'm not kidding. He goes, what do you mean? I go, look at the number on the sign as you're working your way down. And he's like, oh, shit, that's what those numbers mean? I go, yeah, you think they were just no, I'm totally serious. And I go, you think they're just making that up? So he didn't understand the correspondent of the numbers working your way down. And it's even without the first, second, third, fourth streets, it's all the same. You know, it's a grid system. Like, you know, they're all based on numbers. But he had no clue. He has, you know, because the machine thinks for you, so you don't have to.
Does everything.
Yeah, you don't have to figure out or find an address. So yeah, if the phones disappeared and people had to do stuff on their own, people would lose their shit because they just couldn't figure it out.
You know what? Our mutual friend Vince. In fact, I mentioned this on the podcast this week. Our mutual friend Vince Moranto said once that you know, he used to travel across the country without a telephone. But now, if he walks outside to go to check the mail and he forgets his phone, he goes into a panic.
Oh,
and it's
funny.
like but we used to travel the country without one, and we used to get from Chicago to some awful one-nighter in the middle of Kentucky. Yeah, and we got there on time, ready to do a show. We somehow got there. But if you told me to do that today, I'd be like, I'd be lost. I admit that. I need a phone. I'm a slave. I'm a slave to it.
Well, I know some people they'll follow the GPS, and when you get to some areas, you're out of district or out of touch or whatever. You ever have a GPS run you into a field, and you're like, this doesn't seem right, and but then you'll sit there forever. And go, what do I do now? Like, you got to figure it out. Would you go find it? Yeah, I remember finding places in the middle of Kentucky when it's dark, you know, with no streams and the names. You're like, is this O'Shanahan's? And you're just going in the back, just sneaking in the back door, and somehow be able to get there.
Len, think about some of those gigs. You know, you and I did a lot of those very similar gigs. You know, that you and I, when we first started, we were not lucky enough to be at Zany's once a week or at the Improv or the Funny Firm. We had to go out and do those, you know, Rapid City, Sioux Falls,
and all those runs.
And it was, you think about some of the gigs that we did. I'm just amazed that we didn't get our asses kicked after shows. I'm amazed that we didn't, that we kept doing comedy, quite frankly, because some of those gigs we weren't doing comedy. We were basically just talking to make a paycheck. It was
right.
It was just bizarre.
Or yelling at drunk people. Like I always said,
that's it.
The high energy yelling at the people, and then get drunk, leave, go, and that was it. That was the whole. I'm surprised I survived through that life, that time. You know what I mean?
I 100% agree. I know. I'm surprised I've made it through it, and thank Christ I did.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to go back to that anymore. No more. Jimmy, let's wrap this up. What do you think, man? We're gonna say
bye,
goodbye.
Len.
Hey, there's someone from Sioux Falls watching when you said those words. Jack Thorson.
Speaking of which,
Jack Thorson is here, and he's from Sioux Falls. Hey, Jack, Sioux Falls, checking in. Good to see you. Hey, thanks for everyone that tuned in today. Jim, do you want to plug something? What do you want to do, man? Go. Say, throw out your socials.
What? We already mentioned it. Never Not Funny is the name of the podcast. Come on by over there, nevernotfunny.com. We're in the middle of Subtoberfest. We're trying to add new subscribers to our paid side of things, our platinum membership. So we're trying to add 666 new subscribers in the month of October. So come on by, and if you subscribe, you get a snazzy enamel pin. I've also got a brand new season 4 of my web series, Jimmy's Records and Tapes, is available right here on YouTube as well, where I talk about my 5 favorite songs by an actor, I believe is the current week. And I also do, my 5 favorite songs that feature harmonica, my 5 favorite guitar solos, stuff like that. And it's really it's just me rambling on and on, and with an excuse to talk about music. So come by Jimmy's Records and Tapes on YouTube, and then the podcast Never Not Funny, and of course at Jimmy Pardo on X if you want to follow my nonsense there.
You're so good at that. Look at that. That's perfect, Jimmy.
Smooth, right?
Yeah, I like it. That's a professional. That's 20 plus years of podcasting right there. Good at it. Thank you, sir.
You, Len.
I appreciate your time for being here, man. Big time.
It is my honor. I'll see you at the baseball draft.
All right, buddy. See ya.